The mainstream economic argument is that we haven't built enough housing. So we've had rapid population growth, which of course increases demand for housing, but the construction industry or the development industry hasn't responded quickly enough by building up supply. That's the standard economic argument, and therefore we can fix these problems by just building more, release more land on the city fringes, get rid of development controls so that more high rises or apartments can be built. And then the problem will take care of itself because richer people will move into these newer, flashier houses and they will move out of their old houses, and someone a bit poorer will move into their old house, and someone poorer still will move into their old house, and there'll be cheaper houses becoming available that people who are renting will be able to afford, and simple fix. But I don't buy that theory, partly because there's a huge argument about how much housing we've been building and whether we've been building enough. So in some places like central Melbourne, we've been building a lot of new housing in the form of high-rise apartments, but that doesn't seem to have addressed homelessness. And I think if we look at it from the perspective of other factors that fuel demand and make housing expensive, then we can see things like investor demand for housing. So, investors who use negative gearing and seeking the benefits of the tax discount on capital gains on property that you get, they're competing in the market for the same houses as first home buyers, and that pushes up the price. We also have historic low interest rates, and they've been low for a very long time. And so that makes it cheaper to borrow money, so people feel they can borrow more, take on larger debt. And again, that pushes prices. And then, as people get wealthier, they buy more housing. They buy bigger houses or they buy second houses. So that, also affects demand if people are consuming two houses, or if they've got an apartment in Melbourne that they use when they come a few times a year and they just keep it there because it's convenient. So there's lots of factors that affect demand and supply of housing. And the third thing I'd say, the key thing is, and it's noticeable all around Australia, that we have not been investing in what's called social housing. So social housing is housing that's offered to people on low incomes at a fixed proportion of their income. So no more than they pay 25% of their income in rent. So people on the pension, people on benefits of various sorts. Australia, about 8% of Australian housing used to be social housing. Now it's down to 4.2%. So state and territory governments haven't been building enough social housing, and whether that's housing that's owned by the state or owned by community sector organisations, we need to build more of that to really provide a supply for people at the bottom end of the income scale.